Welcome to PowerTalk, the show where we uncover the inspiring stories of individuals making meaningful contributions to their communities and beyond. I'm your host, Tom Power, and today we are honored to welcome a truly remarkable guest. Rabbi Chanan Chernitsky is the first and only rabbi to serve Newfoundland and Labrador. He's the director of Chabad Newfoundland, a community leader and educator, and a passionate advocate for Jewish life in this province. Welcome, Rabbi Chernitsky.
Thank you very much. I'm not the first rabbi, and I'm also director of the Friendship Circle. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you. Rabbi, your journey to Newfoundland and Labrador is quite fascinating. Let's start at the beginning. What inspired you to dedicate your life to serving Jewish communities?
Okay, good question. I don't come from a religious family. My parents are both Jewish. I grew up secular. When I was in high school in Winnipeg, that's when I started becoming closer to Jewish observance. And it was only many years later, it was already after high school, I was studying, pursuing Jewish studies in Morristown, New Jersey. And that's when I decided that I wanted to become a rabbi as a vocation and serve Jewish communities.
Mm-hmm. Your decision to establish Chabad Newfoundland in 2010 was groundbreaking. Can you tell us more about the motivation behind it and what you hope to achieve?
2017. So we moved here in 2017 to open Chabad Newfoundland. It's going to be 8 years in February, God willing. What it is that Chabad has a mandate to go out to communities that either don't have Jewish infrastructure or could use a boost in their infrastructure. And so we moved here, me and my wife, and then 3 children. Now we have 7, thank God. And we moved here to build up the Jewish community, to build up Jewish education. And because the Jewish community is limited in size, we have a number of initiatives for the general community. I said before, I'm the director of the Friendship Circle also. We do programs and events for children with special needs and their families. That part of our work is non-denominational. It's open to all, regardless of their background or religion. And that's just some of what we do to serve the whole of Newfoundland and Labrador beyond the Jewish community.
Excellent. That's truly inspiring. Starting something from scratch is no small task. What were some of the challenges you faced in those early days?
So back in 2017, there was some hesitation from part of even members of the Jewish community. A lot of people were somewhat wary, suspicious. They didn't understand where we're coming from. People felt that we came here to force is wouldn't be the right word, but people thought we would be very judgmental, and that our goal was to coerce people into living a more servant life, which of course is absurd and ridiculous. But those were some of the reactions. And then, the dust settled, the people got to see us for who we are. Another challenge, though, not that it came from the same place as the first one, but getting to know people, Newfoundlanders like or tend to connect with other Newfoundlanders. So me being a mainlander and also being an immigrant to Canada, I would definitely say that it's more of an effort, more of a challenge to make local connections. So definitely the early years, that was very tough just to get to meet new people. To be fair, there's been many Newfoundlanders that have kindly, figuratively opened their doors and welcomed us and open to hear what we have to say and just get to know us, get to know what we do. But that's definitely one of the challenges.
Speaking of building community, Chabad Newfoundland offers a range of programs and services. Could you elaborate on the initiatives you've developed and their impact?
Sure. So let's start with what we do for the Jewish community, and then we'll start from there because that's why we moved here mainly. And so we have classes. I study with people one-on-one. There's group classes every week. We have Shabbat, Friday night, Saturday meals, Sabbath meals for the community, holiday programs, kids programs. We have a Hebrew school now. like the Jewish version of Sunday school type of thing. So that's what we do. We don't have services very often. We have services maybe once a month, twice a month. The focus is more on education, classes, activities. And then we have some things which are both for the Jewish community and general communities, such as our Holocaust education series. Since 2018, we've been bringing to town a Holocaust survivor to speak and share their story. And so during the pandemic, 2020 through 2022 inclusive, it was all on Zoom. 2023, we went back to doing it in person. And so now it's 2025. We have the Holy Heart Theater booked for Sunday, September the 7th. We're going to have a Holocaust survivor come from Montreal, as we've been doing the past few years, somebody who's not currently living in Montreal. That's one thing. But also, just behind us, it's Hanukkah. Hanukkah, we always do a big public menorah lighting, big event that's open to all. Everybody's invited. People come. We serve complimentary donuts. I speak. I share a positive message, a universal message connected to Hanukkah that everybody could appreciate, an inspirational message, a powerful message. We invite local politicians. They come, they speak, they show the support for the community. And it's become a beautiful, nice evening out with the family. People get to support the Jewish community, learn something about Hanukkah, eat some good donuts, and also be entertained. We always have sort of entertainment. This year we had fantastic fireworks. And then we have the Friendship Circle, which is its own entity, not legally incorporated separately, but it's a sub-branch of Chabad. And that's our focus with children, families with special needs across the province. So through the Friendship Circle, we have 3 projects that we're working on right now. Number 1, we have group music lessons every week, Sunday from 4:30 to 5:30 at the Shine Music on PP Place. It's a more recent studio, so that's group music lessons. Any child or youth with a disability could sign up and go. We have one big event a month. So, for example, now January the 19th, this coming Sunday, we're going to go to the Jelly Bean Entertainment's party room at the Village Mall, and there's going to be arcades, bouncy castles. Parents have a corner where they can make a coffee and relax, to get a bit of a breather. There's also like video games, Xbox, and all sorts of board games there for the children to have fun. And everything that we do at the Friendship Circle is free of charge. It's upon me to raise the funds to seek the sponsorships, so we could bring these opportunities to every single family, every single participant, and no cost to them. And last but not least, we have our pen pal project. Every child, youth with a disability could sign up and get at least 1 letter a month from one of our dedicated, awesome volunteers. And so right now we have about 90 children from coast to coast and in Labrador. We're getting one of these letters, and over 60 volunteers who are doing this every single month.
Wow. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Looking ahead, what are your hopes and dreams for Chabad Newfoundland in the future?
I love the question. I always tend to think big. So does my wife, for that matter. And we would love to have a building, a multi-purpose building, a building that would serve as a community center, synagogue, and also a Friendship Circle building. Right now, the Friendship Circle does not have its own space, right? We either rent a space for the activities or we borrow, whatever we do. We don't have our own space. We'll have to have our own accessible space where we could have our activities, where we could have accessible sports. And at the same time, that very building could also be used for the Jewish community. I could have an office, my wife could have an office, and maybe a social hall, host events, have, if somebody from the community wants to have a party, a bar mitzvah, a wedding, that they could hold it there, a kosher kitchen. So yeah, that's definitely the future, a dedicated building that's multi-purpose, serving all of the different programs that we have.
Fantastic. Rabbi Chernitsky, your work is truly transformative. Thank you for sharing your journey and for all that you do to enrich the lives of so many people here in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, It's my pleasure. It's not always easy, but we're dedicated, and this is what we do every day. How can we enhance everybody's life? How can we make life here better for everybody?
Do you have any uh, inspiring words or a message for the people of the province that you would like to share?
I would like to finish with a story, if I may,
Absolutely.
and a story I shared with the individuals many times. And the story goes that the famous Italian composer Arturo Toscanini, he, at the end of his life, he had a biographer following him around, and he was writing down all the details of this very prolific, successful composer. One day, Toscanini tells the biographer that they cannot get together because there's an orchestra in Czechoslovakia playing one of his pieces, and he wants to be able to listen in tranquility. The biographer felt that, quite to the contrary, this would be a wonderful opportunity to see how Toscanini listens to his own music. And so he begged Toscanini for a chance to sit with him. And Toscanini said, "Sure, you promised to be quiet. We could sit together, no problem." So they get together. Toscanini turns on the radio that night, and the orchestra begins playing. Hour and a half goes by, the whole thing is over. Toscanini turns off the radio, and the biographer says, "So, what did you think?" And Toscanini says, "It was pretty good, but there was one violinist missing." The biographer is skeptical, and Toscanini says, "If you don't trust me, call the concert hall tomorrow, I guarantee you." Sure enough, the next day the biographer calls the concert hall, and lo and behold, one violinist wasn't feeling well, so one of them was missing. Now the biographer goes back to Toscanini. He wants to know how in the world did he figure out that one violinist was missing? This is an orchestra with 16, 17, 18, 20 violinists. So Toscanini says, "You don't understand how the orchestra works. Every single instrument has a role to play. If one of them is missing, it just doesn't sound right." And the message to us is that we all have a role to play in the orchestra of the universe. And if one of us is missing, it just doesn't sound right. Each and every one of us is special. Each and every one of us is important. And we all have something to bring to the table, something to contribute, something to ensure that nobody else can. And that's something we can never forget. Our intrinsic value, our special value. Cheers.
That's absolutely powerful. And I completely understand what you were saying. It's such an amazing story. And it's so true. If one person is missing, then the orchestra is not complete. And life is not complete. So
That's right.
thank you for sharing that story with us. And thank you to our viewers for tuning in to Power Talk. If you've enjoyed this episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, take care and stay inspired.